I destroyed a good man's life. I used his 6-year-old son as a pawn in my game. And for what? For a fleeting thrill with a coworker. Some mistakes you just can't come back from. This is the story of mine. It began with Tyler, my boyfriend. He was everything I thought I wanted. Tall, dark hair, and a charming smile that could light up any room. We met during our junior year of college at a party thrown by mutual friends. Something about him just drew me in. Maybe it was his easygoing nature or the way he treated everyone with respect, even the waitstaff. We quickly fell in love. Or so I thought. Tyler had a 6-year-old son, Lucas, from a previous relationship. Lucas's mother, Sarah, and Tyler had gone through a tumultuous breakup, and it left scars on both of them. I remember the first time I met Lucas. He was shy but curious, peeking out from behind his father's leg. Tyler introduced us. I could see the love in his eyes as he spoke about his son. I told myself I wanted to be the perfect stepmother, the one who would help Tyler heal and build a new family together. As the months passed, I became more involved in Lucas's life. I went to his soccer games. I helped him with his homework. I even tried to bond with Sarah. I really wanted to show Tyler that I was committed to him and to his son, but beneath the surface, I felt suffocated. The pressure to be the perfect girlfriend, the perfect stepmother, it weighed heavily on me. It was during this time that I met Jake. He was a charming coworker, someone who could make me laugh even on my worst days. He was everything I didn't know I craved. Adventurous, spontaneous, and utterly captivating. One night, after a particularly overwhelming week, juggling Tyler's needs, Lucas's activities, I found myself at a bar with Jake. We were celebrating a successful project at work, and with every sip of my drink, the tension just melted away. As the night wore on, Jake leaned closer. His warm breath sent shivers down my spine. I tried to resist, but the thrill of being desired, it was intoxicating. Our lips met in a passionate kiss. And in that moment, I forgot about everything. Tyler, Lucas, the life I had built. I knew it was wrong, but the excitement was too alluring. I couldn't resist. What started as a single kiss quickly spiraled into a full-blown affair. We'd meet in secret, sneaking away to hotel rooms or the back seat of Jake's car. Each stolen moment was like a drug. It filled the void I'd been feeling for so long. I felt alive. The guilt became a distant memory. Each time I returned to Tyler and Lucas, I put on my mask. I pretended everything was perfect. But the lies, they began to take their toll. I'd come home late, claiming work obligations or girls' nights out. Tyler, ever the understanding partner, would simply nod and tell me to be safe. My heart would hammer in my chest every time I heard his keys in the door. A cold sweat would break out on my neck. I'd have to take a deep breath, physically force a smile onto my face, and pray he couldn't see the lie in my eyes. I knew I was betraying him, but I couldn't seem to break free from Jake's grasp. Things took a dark turn when Lucas accidentally walked in on one of our rendezvous. Tyler had dropped Lucas off at my apartment after school. He thought I could watch him for an hour. He thought I was safe. I remember the sound of tiny footsteps approaching, laughter echoing in the hall. Panic surged through me. I shoved Jake into the bathroom and quickly composed myself. When Lucas entered, he looked up at me with wide eyes, confused. "Who were you talking to?" he asked so innocently. I smiled, trying to mask the fear gripping my heart. "Just a friend, sweetie, nothing to worry about." But I could see the gears turning in his little mind. Kids are perceptive. They notice things, even when we think they don't. The following days were a whirlwind of anxiety. I was terrified Lucas would say something to Tyler. Terrified that my perfect facade would shatter. I couldn't let that happen. So, I schemed, I decided Lucas should live with his mother permanently. That would solve everything, I thought. If a custody battle consumed Tyler's time and energy, he'd have less opportunity to question my loyalty. I approached Sarah, pretending I wanted to help. "You know," I said, feigning sincerity, "I think Lucas would thrive living with you full-time. I see how much he misses you. Sarah looked surprised, but intrigued. You really think so? She asked, her voice cautious. Absolutely, I replied, planting the seeds of doubt and manipulation. I think it would be best for him, and it might bring some peace for Tyler, too. I didn't care about Lucas's well-being. I saw this as a way to create distance for Tyler and me, a way to keep my affair with Jake alive. Weeks passed. I continued to feed Sarah ideas about custody arrangements. I encouraged her to fight for Lucas, knowing it would put a strain on Tyler. My plan was working. Soon, Sarah was talking with a lawyer to pursue full custody. I felt a rush of excitement, thinking I could be free from the responsibilities of motherhood, while still having Tyler's love. One afternoon, after another tense mediation session I had encouraged, I saw them from my car. Tyler and Sarah weren't fighting. He was leaning against the wall, looking exhausted. She placed a hand on his arm, her expression full of a deep, shared understanding. They were parents, united in their concern for their son. In that moment, a chill went through me. I thought I was driving them apart, but all I was really doing was reminding them of the bond they would always share, a bond I would never be a part of. Despite that realization, I underestimated the bond between a father and son. Lucas, innocent and unaware of the chaos unfolding, began to express his desire to stay with his dad. He'd cling to Tyler, saying he didn't want to leave him. Tyler, completely unaware of the storm brewing, held him close, promising he would always be there for him. The tension in our relationship grew. Tyler began to notice the change in me. I was more distant, my mind was often elsewhere. He confronted me one evening after Lucas had gone to bed. "Jess, is everything okay?" he asked, concern etched on his face. "You seem off lately." I quickly brushed off his worries. "I'm just stressed with work, babe. You know how it is," I lied, forcing a smile. But the guilt was suffocating. I was living a double life. It was only a matter of time before everything unraveled. One night, while I was out with Jake, I received a call from Tyler. "Can you come home?" he said, his voice tense. "I need to talk to you." My heart raced as I hung up the phone. Panic flooded my veins. When I arrived home, Tyler was waiting for me. His expression was grave. "I talked to Lucas today," he said, his voice shaking. "He told me he saw you with someone. Please tell me it's not true." My heart dropped. I had been caught in my own web of lies. "Tyler, it's not what you think," I stammered, desperately trying to salvage the situation. But he wasn't buying it. "I want the truth, Jessica. Who were you with?" The walls began to close in. I realized there was no escaping this moment. As I tried to explain, the truth spilled out. My affair with Jake, my manipulations, everything. Each word felt like a dagger, cutting deeper into the love we had built. The color drained from Tyler's face. He physically took a step back, as if my words had pushed him. He just shook his head slowly, his eyes wide with a look of such profound betrayal. It broke something inside of me. "You did this?" he finally said. "You put me through this for what? A fling?" The heartbreak in his eyes was unbearable. I had shattered the trust we had built, and there was no coming back from it. "I thought I could make it work," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. "I thought I could have both." But Tyler was done. "I can't be with someone who would betray me like this," he said, his voice breaking. "You've hurt my son, and you've hurt me." The finality of his words struck me like a lightning bolt. I had lost him, and I had lost Lucas, too. In the days that followed, Tyler moved out, taking Lucas with him. I found myself alone in my apartment, surrounded by memories of a life I had destroyed. The thrill of my affair faded into nothingness. Only regret and loneliness remained. As I sat in the silence, I realized I had sacrificed everything for a fleeting moment of excitement. I had manipulated those around me, all for my selfish desires. and in the end I was left with nothing but the emptiness of my actions. In the months that followed, I tried to pick up the pieces. I distanced myself from Jake. He had been so eager to be part of my life, but now he felt like a ghost. I attempted to reach out to Tyler to apologize, but he had cut all ties. I watched from a distance as he built a new life with Sarah, a life rebuilt from the ashes of the fire I had started. It tore at my heart. The realization hit me like a tidal wave. I had lost the love of a good man. I had lost the chance to be a mother figure to a sweet boy. All because I couldn't confront my own insecurities and desires. As I reflect on my actions, I realize the importance of honesty and integrity in relationships. I learned that love cannot thrive in a garden of lies. I can only hope that one day Tyler and Lucas can forgive me for the pain I caused. In the end, I learned that the fairy tales I once believed in were just that, fantasies. Life is messy, and sometimes the consequences of our choices leave us alone, in the shadows of our own making.